Thank you, and good afternoon. I'm delighted to be here with Joanne, or Jo, as she's known to her friends. And if you don't know Jo, she's been around the industry and payments in particular for a long time, and is a driving force of change, having made many achievements in business. But now you're doing something different called Project Nemo, which is just launched today, and it's all about using FinTech for inclusion. And so maybe you can tell me a bit more about the project and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So Project Nemo is all about disability inclusion specifically and accelerating our journey in disability inclusion within FinTech. As a female CEO, I've been holding the mantle on D&I for a while, and I've recognized that most organizations are addressing diversity and inclusion in the same order. So gender first, then ethnicity, then the LGBTQIA. And so disability is not getting a look in. And yet, at the same time, we're not addressing the accessibility of all of our products and services. FinTech's been really good at creating specific solutions to address specific pockets of exclusion, whether it's things like creating banking products for those without credit histories or that kind of thing. But actually, all of our products and services should be accessible. And I feel without the inclusion on the inside, we've missed a trick in thinking about the accessibility of the products and services on the outside. And so Project Nemo is born of the idea that actually we need to address both of these. And rather than it just being about a pledge or sort of putting something onto the to-do list, this is about a short, sharp intervention, a course correction to make this inclusion better for everyone.
So I guess the key question is, what's the core of the issue we're trying to solve, or you're trying to solve with the project?
Well, when you look at the statistics, it's 1 in 5 of the population have some form of disability. And so actually this is a topic that affects far more people.
Can you define disability just so...
So disability is quite a broad range of topics. You know, we tend to think about it as people in wheelchairs because that's what the universal symbol is. But actually, it's only something like 9% of those with disabilities are users of wheelchairs. In fact, 13% of people with disabilities were born with a disability. 87% acquire them in their lifetime. And that disability can include neurodiversity as well, which is something that's being spoken about more and more at the moment, but also things like experiences like cancer counts as a disability even after somebody's fully recovered.
And you've got quite a lot of companies involved in the launch as partners, including Innovate Finance.
Yes.
So what are you trying to achieve with those companies? And why is it FinTech? Why not the whole financial industry and the banks?
So there's two things there. Firstly, it's FinTech because this is my industry, this is my sphere of influence, and I'm working with Innovate Finance and a large number of all of the trade bodies and event organisers across our industry who have all opened their doors and opened their arms to work with me and the project team on this initiative. I think the minute I've started to explain, actually we've missed a trick here. It's resonating with everybody. And I've been speaking at several events through the last year, at Pay360, at Money 2020, at EWPN. And every single time, there is a queue of people that want to speak afterwards. And they say, you must turn this into something because it's really important to me because... And then you find out there's a personal story. And because it is, 23% of the population, actually it is the case that it resonates from a family member lived experience perspective. And it's somehow a conversation, though, however, that we're keeping at home and we're not having in the workplace. And one of the experiences that I had, as I started on this journey, I deliberately created a role back in my old organisation for somebody from a special needs educational background. And that individual, Chris Foster, is here somewhere. lost him, there you go. He brought just a ray of sunshine to everybody in the organisation. And he actually created an environment where suddenly everyone was wanting to share their stories. And it just, one person changed the dynamic of an organisation. And, you know, really led me to realise that there's so many different types of people that we need to create full inclusion in our organisations to make the best decisions, the best teams, and the best companies.
And I know from talking to you before we came on stage that this is a project at the moment, Project Nemo. Mm-hmm. What's going to be the objective at the end of the project?
So I've deliberately called it a project because what I don't want to create is a dependency on me driving change. What I'm trying to do is, you know, the FinTech community and the disabled community, all the service providers that know exactly how to support us on our inclusion and accessibility journeys. We just don't interlock. We don't know who each other are. So Project Nemo is about creating a series of events where we bring the service providers, the expertise into the room. We bring the case studies. We bring the lived experience. We bring the examples from other industries like big tech who are getting it so right. And they can help teach us in workshops, in safe spaces, how to address each of the elements of disability and inclusion and accessibility. Whether it's how to set up our employee resource groups, whether it's how to comply with the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines or the new European Accessibility Act, or you know, what should we do for inclusive marketing? How do we deal with sort of the legal considerations? So different workshops aimed at slightly different audiences, all helping us as a FinTech community learn in a safe space to be able to accelerate the disability ongoing. Why a project is because what I want to achieve is that we bring those two communities together such that they then know where to go with each other and it doesn't need me anymore. So what we're looking through these events, we're going to create chapters of an ebook, we're going to create a podcast series, and that's going to effectively create a how-to guide. And then back to your point about, okay, this is just FinTech, this has the potential to be a blueprint as to how disability inclusion can be accelerated at industry level across many other industries, and certainly where I've been building the various relationships with the disabled community, they're saying, we've never seen anything like this at industry level before. So, you know, potentially, we've got the opportunity to create something that could be, you know, have a lot wider impact too.
And if anyone's sitting in the audience wondering how to get involved, what should they do? Just come and talk to you, or
come and speak to me.
You've got a website launched today.
Website launched today. That's got a contact form so that you can sort of get on the mailing list, so we can start to share the first of the events that are coming up. We have a LinkedIn page as well, and what we're going to do on that LinkedIn page is start to curate sort of really useful. Whether it's insights. I mean, we know that we've got this polarization of all of our social media feeds. So there's all this great content that none of us in the FinTech world are actually getting to see. So one of the plans that we have is to be able to sort of curate the best of what's out there that the disabled community want us to see, and so that we can have that information to hand as a reference source.
I've got to ask you, because I don't know the answer, why Nemo? Because I always think of the Disney film Finding Nemo, but...
It was actually connected. It is connected to Finding Nemo. A group of us were sat round a table in Vienna in October, and we came up with, right, we really need to work out how to bring more people with disabilities into our community. And I started by thinking about Finding Nemo, and it was connected to the film, because I thought, well, maybe we need to help the recruitment agencies themselves find the disabled people. Maybe there was a B2B market requirement from that perspective. But then I took a step back and said, well, actually, before looking at that side of things, let's test the market. are we ready? Have we actually got a properly inclusive industry? One that would, welcome, embrace, and nurture and support people from the disabled community. So we need to figure that out, and that's what I'm doing. And at the same time, need to sort of educate the disabled community on this is FinTech. Because right now, we all talk about FinTech as being an industry that most of us fell into. No one particularly planned a career in FinTech. Imagine if we can get to the point that there are those growing up with disabilities who, their parents saying, well, where do I belong? And right now, most people will say, well, maybe you can become a Paralympian. Because that's become one of the only things that we connect with someone with a disability. But that's for a tiny percentage and of a particular interest group. There's the second area has become academia, because the universities have become learning environments that are fully inclusive, and I think the disabled community is among the most educated in society. The third's actually become big tech. The Googles and Apples and Microsofts of this world have done fantastically internally from an inclusion perspective and externally with accessibility. And look at the success they're making. So, those become 3 areas. Wouldn't it be lovely in, 5-10 years' time for FinTech to be recognized as an industry that welcomes and embraces disability inclusion, where we can show that, we've got all sorts of representation and it's authentic, and we've got the knowledge of how to innovate, to leverage adaptive technologies, and to really embrace the different thought processes that come as a part of it.
I could talk to you for ages, Joe, as usual, but we've run out of time. But you're an inspirational person, and I'm betting that you will make this work. So congratulations.
Thank you.